we're all exactly where we're meant to be.
Yes, everybody is where they are meant to be, which is all great. But Lee can verify that if he wants to.
Yep, everyone is in the right place.
Good. I'm glad you think of it.
Hello, Twitch.
Hello, everybody who's watching us sort our lives out. Okay, well, folks, are we ready to get going?
Yeah.
Okay.
We are indeed.
Ready.
Awesome.
Hey.
So, without further ado, hello and welcome, everybody, to episode 13 of the WRPG. Well, here we go. We're finally out of the city. I am so very excited to see where this goes.
We did it, you guys!
You did it! Finally, after a number of episodes in the city, we are making our way back out into the open plains. But anyway, thank you very much for joining us on our adventure. It's probably quite a good time. Actually, I think it was the last episode, and the last episode went out. I said, thank you so much, because we've had 500 downloads. I had a look just before we've come up, and we're almost on 700 downloads since the last time our episodes went up. So yeah, thank you so much for everybody who's listening on all the different podcasts. So if you don't know us, I'm DM John, and around the virtual room, although soon to hopefully be in person, which will be amazing, we have our players. We have Lee, we have Jay,
Hi.
We have Adam,
Hey guys.
Ollie,
Yo.
and Rob.
Yeah.
Just realised
That's the
nobody on
last.
the audio will hear me waving, will they?
No, nobody will hear you.
Go on, Lee. Do a
Silent
proper
wave.
YouTube intro. What is up, guys?
What is up, guys?
What is up, guys?
What's your man here, skinny penis 5'8"?
Okay.
Smash that like button.
Smash the
Right,
like
let's
button,
do
follow
this.
button, all that kind of stuff. So
Hit the
yeah.
bell, notifications.
Yeah, like it owes you money.
So, two thank yous before we get going. So, first off to Green
You're
Ronin
welcome.
for making such an awesome system and sort of providing us with all the support and sort of giveaways and stuff. That's been really, really cool. And second off, the soundtrack tonight will be provided by Syrinscape, who have their music out there for royalty free for projects like this. So, thank you to those folks as well. So, I think now is the time for the intro. And we're back. So, last time round, our group of adventurers had a standoff with a combatant, one with strength far greater than their own. The image of those dark purple eyes looking up at you from under the rim of their dark hood seems burned into your minds. Even the combined effort of our group and Tali was not enough to overcome this foe. A drawn-out conflict involving frost, shadow, and blades, went on for a little while before our group made the wise decision to flee, finally taking instruction from Tali. As they looked on, Tali continued to battle on, giving our heroes time to escape. Well, I say heroes, but are they really that?
Hey.
Why do I say this?
Rude.
Well, shortly afterwards, Tali, having escaped, found the group. She emerged from the shadows, bloodied and bruised. Perhaps her mastery of the dark gave her this avenue of escape. She gave the group some coin, just enough to procure some horses, and instructed them once more to seek out Garrick in Montecresco to the west. This was of utmost importance. Now here, you'd think buying some horses was a simple matter. However, our group went on to embark on the weirdest anti-heist of all time, involving some shooting, some clubbing, and then throwing some money at the stable hands they tried to rob. And then, with confused guards and onlookers observing the scene, they rode off east out of the main gates. This was made even more confusing by the moment at which the Orion paused on his horse, reared it up into the air, waved his hat in a graceful motion around his head, before moving his feet expertly into the stirrups to move the horse onwards into a gallop. Who knew it was the first time he'd actually ridden a horse? So, our group rides out from the city, past the now empty station. They turn back at the city behind them. You see 2 dark plumes of smoke rising between the usual haze produced by the city's chimneys. The sun is at its highest point in the sky, the winter breeze keeping the heat at bay. And as you look towards the Locusten Ranges, further to the west in front of you, you can see some stark winter clouds beginning to roll over the peaks. You've been riding for a couple of hours now. The road to the west is rather quiet. You've not seen many people. But anyway, it's a bit further to the small forest that hugs the riverbank on the way to Montecresco, which is about 2 to 3 days' journey from here. What would you like to do?
So, we were going to Montecresco. Was it Montecresco or Cristo?
Like
'Cause I feel
Tesco. Like Tesco.
Yeah.
Montecresco, is that what we're calling it now? Other supermarket brands are available.
Mount Tesco.
And we're going to go find Garrick, who's a diver.
Yeah.
And we're going to find him and return to Tarly.
Yes.
Also, didn't we also have another quest? Oh, beast killing. We had to go kill a beast or something.
At Montecresco, wasn't it?
At Montecresco.
The Beast of Montecresco.
Yep.
Beast, yeah.
The Count of Montecresco.
Something tells me if there's nobody at as I recall, there's nobody at Montecresco. So I reckon this beast has probably murderized everyone or captured them all.
Okay.
Surmising it, but we'll see, I guess.
Superb.
So the first thing Gillis would like to do is ask if Tantan can help him with his saddle saw, because he's never ridden before.
Are you sure you want to do that?
He's probably got a brush for it, you know.
Yeah, actually, his healing has actually been so on point that I may risk just getting blocked up. Perhaps not.
Are you saying this to Tantan?
Yeah, Tantan, do you have anything for saddle saw? I mean, just a poultice or something. I don't need your magic fingers.
Well, let me have a little look-see in my bag. I'm going to sort of rummage around in my bag, which has probably got some sort of mouldy, scroty kind of thing in it. And
Scroty?
yeah, scroty. And I will bumble together a bunch of ingredients that I think might help him.
Oh, thanks very much, Tantan. I'm definitely going to smear those all over my raw buttocks as soon as possible.
Yes. Really work it into the cracks. It really helps.
Crack, non-plural. Thank you, Tantan.
Oh, okay. I mentioned your skin, of course.
Oh, okay. Thank you. So yeah, Gillis takes some private time to check on his saddle saw, because having never ridden before, I can only imagine it's quite painful.
His whole ass is a saddle saw.
It just looks like bacon.
Oh.
Moving the plot along slightly.
What do you mean that wasn't plot important?
John messaged me on the side to make me do that.
He's like, oh yeah.
We actually know the way, right? Are we at any risk of getting lost here? Do we need to make navigation?
So what from your knowledge, Tantan, not Tantan, what am I on about? From your knowledge,
Tantan knows something?
I know. From your knowledge, Tink, the sort of road to the west basically goes to Montecresco. You've never travelled it before, but you know that it sort of follows the river, goes through the forest, and sort of eventually gets to Montecresco. What you also know about Montecresco is it's sort of, you sort of picked up a little bit of this information over the years, is it's sort of a bastion that sort of guards from the Drakvald forest. So it's sort of out there as a bit of an outpost. And sort of those of you who are from the area know that. So Jay, your Gillis would probably know this as well, just because he's sort of traversed the Drakvald at times. So he would know of Montecresco. But yeah, the road is pretty straightforward. It will get you there. It's used for trade and all sorts. As Tink said, the slightly strange thing is that the Mercenary Guild hadn't heard from sort of anybody who'd gone to Montecresco for a couple of weeks. He sort of put it down to it being, it's early winter. They tend to slow trade down in the winter because travelling can be a bit tougher.
Oh, okay. Well, in that case, I guess Tink is just kind of happily trotting along at whatever speed the horse is settled into. I would assume he would quite happily carry on until the horse keels over and dies at this point. So I'll leave it up to anyone else to, to insist we stop for rest or something. Are there any kind of inns or anything on the way that that we might hit at a reasonable hour to let us stop overnight, or are we going to need to camp out?
Unlike the journey to Ogrin to the north, where there are the coach houses, the path to Montecresco is normally one where you would just find a spot and pitch up, because it doesn't have the same danger as sort of the highway on the coast, because the coast is vulnerable to raiders, and actually, to the knowledge of the people in this region, there sort of isn't anything beyond sort of the odd animal that you'd get in the woods and such. It's sort of the danger lies more towards the Lokenson Ranges and the Drakvald itself.
If you met us, I think we're the danger on this road. And it's not even on purpose.
We are the ones who knock. Well, yeah, I think that's what Tink's just going to do. She's going to keep going until the horse dies. So.
Are there any other conversations or anything that you want, or?
Mac would quite like to perhaps wander, kind of get alongside. I guess Tink. And he's just going to ask him, Tink. I have been thinking a little bit about Galen, and I am concerned that some of the things he has suggested recently haven't been very sensible.
Do you mean like throwing money at those two stable hands?
Yeah, and he had me throw Tantan at the people in the bar, and he had me throw Tantan over the river. And he did hit that person in the face with the hammer for no reason.
Yes, there is an inordinate amount of throwing going on.
Gillis wants to try and listen in on their conversation.
Okay, roll a perception check.
Oh, 665. 6 on the stunt dice.
Yep.
Definitely hearing every
you
word
can
of
hear this
then.
whole conversation, even though they're like leaning over and sort of Max trying to whisper, and he's sort of lowering the tone a little bit, but yeah, it's sort of like you could pick up on what they're saying.
So I'm on top of my horse listening to the conversation, but my back is absolutely screaming from not being able to ride a horse. And I just think in my head about Mac talking about, wise decisions after crossbowing 2 children.
There is a certain amount of pot kettle black going on.
Yeah. So, but knowing Mac and realizing his absolute use to the group, I'm just going to roll my eyes and keep to myself.
Well, Mac, would you suggest we maybe say something to Galen on these matters?
Well, I don't know. You may not have noticed, but I am not the smartest one here. So I usually rely on other people to make the decisions, but I am not sure I should rely on Galen anymore.
This is interesting.
This is going full Scooby-Doo. Split the group.
Very well, Mac. Leave it with me. I shall attempt to reconcile the situation.
Thank you, Tink.
Have you asked Tantan how he feels about being thrown?
No, but he did not seem to be liked being used as a weapon.
Curious.
I will ask him, Tantan,
Yes.
did you enjoy being used as a weapon?
How do you mean? Like with the electricity, or when you use me to hit people?
Yeah, when I use you to hit people.
Wasn't so much of a fan of it. It hurt a bit.
Yeah, I don't think he liked it very much.
Very well. Yes, I shall have words with Galen.
Right, Mac is happy with that, and he's going to just carry on unless anyone else has anything to say.
Is Tink becoming the mother of the group?
God, I hope not.
He did a bad thing to me.
I'm going to slow my horse down up alongside Galen.
It's just Jay with a big old spoon.
And just mutter under my breath to Galen, like, watch out for those pair, Galen. And maybe stop throwing money at people. And just gallop off a little bit, whinging at my painful back.
Unbeknownst to most people, Galen's pretty battered at this point. I mean, he was down to being almost
Just
dead
in the saddle,
in the
like,
last encounter.
Slumped.
And he luckily was rezzed or given a new lease of life by the wizard.
yeah, the cleric of the group now.
Yeah.
Berries, though, I wasn't lucky enough to receive any berries. I don't think. Or was it berries? I can't remember.
There were berries.
Berries or
There were some
was
berries.
it just healing hands? I can't remember.
There were the healing
I was,
berries. How can you not remember? It's berry time.
Well,
Oh,
well,
yes, true.
to be honest, I can't remember. I was pretty. I was in danger of going. Right? So yeah, I'm kind of like swaying on my horse. If no one's noticed, just oblivious to anything that's going on right now. So
How bad are you?
And the road
No,
was
that
safe.
is how
that
bad.
bad.
Yeah.
Enough to kill his
So-
camera.
Yeah. Well, I could do with some healing. If you look behind and see me, I'm kind of swaying on my horse, and I probably will fall off.
Could I see Galen's sort of condition and try and
Yeah. You sort of like look round as you're sort of all riding along and you're having your little conversations. You do notice that sort of over the course of the last couple of hours, like Galen's like almost like just sort of the horse is almost like just following the group of horses, and he's sort of just like swaying, a little bit of blood pouring out of the sort of wounds that he's got, a little bit of frostbite settling in on his hands as well from frozen, so it's like there's just this blackness sort of starting to seep in.
Okay, what I'd like to do, with obviously your permission, GM, is I would like to utilize Healing Touch in a very unique manner, and I would like to give Galen a double wet willy Healing Touch.
Okay, so as he's sort of like swaying, you go and give him double wet willy. Let's roll the dice. See if it works.
Oh God!
Please tell me that is the official method of healing hands.
Can you explain like just how you're doing this as well, whilst also being on the horse that you're on? And
I mean,
So, like,
there's probably going to be a dexterity roll, but
Do you know,
it's all for fun.
as you're doing it, go on, roll. I would say.
Oh, jeez.
What are we
I'm just glad Tantan hasn't got two cocks. Or does he?
I would say dexterity acrobatics for this.
Okay, let me just have a look. See.
Like
He's
Yoda
doing a
just
backflip
flipping.
from horse to horse, yeah. Legolas.
Right. Okay. Sorry, I just had to find that quickly. Roll dice. I got 5, 3, 3, which is 11 plus my dexterity, which is 2, so that is 13.
Ooh, okay, so sort of almost like as you're riding along, you sort of like take the moment, you sort of almost bring yourself out the stirrups, you sort of stand on the saddle, and you sort of sit there riding along. And for everybody else looking on, it's really strange seeing a man, an elf of his age, sort of almost showing the dexterity, and he sort of leans over and sort of manages to balance himself. Go on, see if you heal.
Is it like Van Damme doing the splits between those trucks in that cause?
I just make it with 10.
10.
Yeah.
Awesome. Good. So how many points of healing do you do?
So I'm going to use 2 magic points, which takes me down to 15, I believe. You know what? Let's give him 3. Why not? Because I'm a nice person. So you gain... Oh, that's a terrible roll. But you gain 7 hit points back. Oh, wait.
Plus willpower, isn't it?
Plus 4 on heals, because I got Miracle Worker. So that is 7 plus 4, 11. 11 points of healing.
Nice.
I was like, I'm sure there's more than that.
Good.
It's taken us 3 days on the road to actually work out Galen was hanging.
That's taken me just under half hit points. So, I think it takes Galen about 30 seconds to recognize what's just happened, and he still probably won't recover from the full trauma of this double wet willy that he's just received.
The bony wizard's fingers just...
The innuendos are timeless here. I'm loving this.
A couple of minutes ago.
Okay. So, as you're sort of feeling a little bit rested, the sun is sort of now making its way sort of towards the horizon once more. Is there anything else that you would like to do over the course of this day?
I think at some point Tink will sort of drop back to where Galen is, try and find a quiet moment just to speak to him one-to-one.
Okay. So, over the course of the day, you drop back and find your spot?
Galen, might I have a word? If we wouldn't mind just slowing down our transport slightly.
Yes, Tink.
Are you awake, Galen? Pay attention.
I don't think I've slept right for the last 3 or 4 days, to be honest.
Yes, very well. I believe our brutish friend has made a request, or rather has confided in me that he feels he can no longer trust you. Your judgment seems impaired somewhat. Is everything all right?
What makes him think that? My judgment is perfectly clear.
Well, you have insisted on him throwing the elf multiple times, and you did throw money at those stable hands needlessly, just when we took these horses this morning.
Well, I do as the Lord of Flame kind of desires, and each of these situations we have been in, we've made it out alive. So, you know.
If the Lord of Flame told you to jump off a cliff, would you do so?
Well, if that's what he desired, Tink.
But to what end? I mean, what? As an Orion, I do not understand faith, blind faith especially. In a deity that does not even bestow upon you the power of flame.
One day he's going to set fire to all of us.
Also, isn't that what Sid the Sloth calls himself in Ice Age, Lord of the Flame?
Maybe
Lord of the Flame!
Also, remember, I'm an elf as well. The elf is getting
I'm sure it's nothing. Don't worry about it. I'll have a chat to Mac at some point about this. I'm sure we can settle things. But from my perspective, each of the situations we made it out in one piece. So we could only have been doing the right thing.
Very well. Perhaps it would be best to placate the orc. However, I do not think we would we would be wise to not cross him.
Very well, Tink. Very well.
Also, stop throwing money away.
Down to brass tacks as always.
Yeah.
I mean, you didn't. I only gave them 15 gold, Tink. We would just watch your shop burn down. I mean, how many hundreds of gold coins were in that store?
Oh, there were none in the store. It's all stored in other safe houses.
So your wares aren't worth money? You don't count those as
Oh, I can make and procure more. That's not a problem.
Fair enough.
Anyway, onwards, and then Tink just kind of like spurs the horse forward and trots back to the front of the group because he knows the way to Montecresco.
Can Tink not turn into the horse like from Brave Star and just trot himself along?
30-30.
That was it, yeah. Wow. What memory that was. Sorry, email.
Awesome.
Yeah, okay.
What time of day is it at the moment?
Sun's just going down, I think.
Yeah, so it's sort of like getting to
Sun's
very
getting real
late
low.
afternoon, early evening.
Okay. Tantan would probably be like, is there any chance we could stop? Maybe my posterior is getting a little bit what's the word for it? Beaten by this horse.
My horse isn't anywhere near dead yet, but very
Yes.
well.
My horse is looking a little bit beaten by my posterior.
As Gillis is focused on the horizon, just in a sea of pain. Not let anyone know.
Eyes watering like one
All over his cloak.
Okay,
Oh, dear.
so as you sort of start to have these conversations, the shadow of the forest that sort of lined part of the horizon gets closer to you all. As you approach, you see the river to your left wind its way towards this evergreen grove. It's a beautiful mix of tall, evergreen trees lining the river edge and shielding the road to Montecresco. There are tall green pines, big, strong fir trees, all interwoven by these stunning purple maples. And the sun starts to make its way towards the horizon. Orange fills the sky, sort of almost silhouetting those black, dark clouds even more. And there's a chill to the air. What would you like to do?
Do we have camping supplies on us? I've just realised.
I have a blanket.
I have a tent.
Yes, you did pick up some stuff.
We
You
did.
do have some
Okay, cool.
camping supplies.
Also, Galen has flint and steel now.
Hey, he can create fire. Finally.
Okay, so are you going to find yourself a spot to pull over and hold up?
Yeah,
I think-
that'd be wise.
Yeah.
Go down by the river?
Someone with some good survival knowledge. Just Tink's not going to have a clue here.
Okay.
I've got scouting and...
He will just go until the horse dies, and then he'll just carry on walking.
So you've got... I think this would be a test for Gillis. He's the one that knows the outcome.
Yeah, I've got natural law.
I would say, Gillis, roll a test for survival, natural law, whatever you would like to roll for, and just
Do
roll through
intelligence, natural law.
Okay.
So as a focus, I get +2. Is it?
Yep, +2 to your roll.
Right.
Yep.
So I'm adding 4 to the rolls of intelligence of 2. 6, 4, 3. Add another 4. That's 10, 14, 17.
Okay, so with a
Ooh.
roll like that, Gillis sort of takes a moment, sort of taking you off to the side of the road, has a quick scan round and finds a really good sort of a spot. There's a little hill that sort of provides a little bit of shield from the wind, and you sort of set up camp and sort of successfully settle down for the night. Are there any conversations you would like to have this evening, or would you like to progress onwards?
Gillis, once pointing at a camping spot, goes over to the river, drops his keks, and just dips his bare cheeks into the water and just lets out an absolute sigh of euphoria. Mutters some sort of prayer
shouldn't
under
we
his
be
breath.
drinking from that?
Gillis, you still can. I recommend boiling it first. If you need to boil it, you can put it on my arse cheeks.
I think
and he
Tink
is
just looks confused.
incredibly raw.
Okay, so you sort of you bed down for the night. You organise your usual guard routine, and the evening passes with you share a few tales and you sort of get to know each other a little bit more. Some of you might go to sleep. I don't know. Is there anything particular anybody wants to do? Anyone taking themselves away or?
I would very much like to utilise some of my newly purchased brushes.
Mm-hmm. So Tantan goes down to the river and sort of starts using his brushes. I assume he used the river, or does he just brush himself?
I assume he's not entirely sure. They don't come with like a user manual or anything. So probably like his hair, his beard, maybe his clothes as well.
Okay,
might be a little bit of personal upkeep.
Okay. I tell you what.
Self care.
Roll a will.
Elfscaping.
Let's go for a willpower self-discipline test.
Ooh, I don't have self discipline, so it'd just be +4. That's not the
only
best.
+4.
So that is 8 + 4, 12.
12. Okay, you sort of managed to resist the urge to sort of go a little bit crazy with your hairstyle, and you sort of tidy up everything, and you actually look quite smart. And you sort of seem to have tidied yourself up, and sort of for the rest of the group, you sort of see this. But
Intruder!
the night passes without much event. Apart from near the end of the last person's shift, the snow starts to fall. It's the first snowfall of the winter season. And as the rest of you wake, there's a very light dusting settling on the ground around you. What would you like to all do?
I think Tink will just maybe go over to Mac and try and catch him alone and just say, "Good morning, Mac."
Good morning, Tink.
Following on from our conversation yesterday, I spoke to Galen. Hopefully he will... He seems a little preoccupied with his deity, but we shall keep an eye on him and make sure he doesn't instruct you to throw Tantan too frequently.
Okay, because it is very difficult if I have to stop to think if I should do the thing I'm told to do.
Sorry.
Lee has broken.
He has broken. So.
Gillis would like to listen into this conversation.
He's not awake.
Gillis is listening. He's always listening.
It's not as good. It's not as good.
Very well, Mac. For
It's
now,
10.
perhaps ignore any instruction from Galen unless one of us verifies it.
Okay, I will do that, Tink.
While they're talking, Tantan would like to walk over towards Gillis and be like, I think I heard my name mentioned. Do you know what they're talking about?
I can only assume it's how spiffing you look, Tantan. You look like a different elf altogether. No, I'm over here, Tantan.
Oh, yes. Well, thank you. I did use my new brushes. Thank you. And he's going to walk off with a big smile on his face.
And just to be clear, elves have their own language, don't they?
They
Yes.
do, I believe,
Yes.
yeah.
So I would have spoke to him in our own language.
Yeah.
Okay.
I probably would have
Please tell me
replied.
it's like French or something.
Yeah.
maybe.
Je m'appelle elf. Je m'appelle
Yeah,
elf.
Just to remind you all, so because you had a good night's rest, with at least 6 hours of restful sleep, you all gain 10 plus your constitution plus your level in health. So,
I'm fully healed.
also,
Neither am I.
for any of you who have magical points, because you had a rest for a good solid 8 hours, you get all of your magic points back as well.
Hooray!
Can I confirm how many magic points? What's that based off as willpower, isn't it?
Yes.
Times. something.
Yeah.
Then you gain some each level.
Yes. So I think I'm on 42.
Yeah.
Does that seem like a lot?
No, that's probably around about.
Oh, right.
Well,
did the math,
42. I'm only on 30.
Because I'm on my
28, so yeah.
I'm on my analog character sheet.
We'll double check
So
that, but you
should
work
be-
out quite a lot.
Yeah, so it's 10 plus willpower plus 1d6 and then after every level you add willpower plus 1d6 every time
Yes.
up to level 10.
So that's 42 is not too mental then.
John, I'm assuming we've got some supplies to cook some breakfast.
Yeah.
On us.
So as part
shit.
of when you were sort of
Didn't think.
preparing yourselves for the adventure, because you knew at the time you were at Tarly's house when you were collecting some bits of equipment, so you did sort of restock there to collate all of the stuff that you needed, and you sort of talked about that at the time when you first embarked on saying, yes, we'll go and find Garrick for her. Okay, so as you continue along the road to Montecresco, you sort of enter into the forest. The shade of the trees makes it a little bit chilly here, and sort of those of you with your sort of larger coats bring them round to sort of cover yourself from the warmth a little bit. And cover yourself and give yourself warmth. Something strikes you as slightly strange. You haven't seen anybody else along this road for the whole time you've been travelling. Since you left the sort of farmlands that surround Marquis. No, not a soul. As you sort of meander your way through the forest, sort of spend a few hours travelling. Who's leading the group?
I've got scouts, so I imagine I'd possibly be on point, but I'm also a really crap rider.
Okay.
So
I think Tink has presumably travelled to Montecresco before.
He may not have gone there. He might have sent
Okay.
things there. He probably wouldn't have travelled that way.
Fair point. Okay.
Can we
Okay.
move 2 abreast on this road, or is it?
Yeah,
more
yeah.
of a
There's
single-
plenty of space. There's sort of like
Alright.
a decent amount of space, almost for 2 carts to pass one another along this road.
Just go in line then, like Tombstone.
Okay, so who's in the lead? So Gillis, you up front?
Sounds like Gillis, yeah.
Okay.
I could do it, but yeah, I'm also quite distracted by the horrendous back pain.
Okay.
From,
So I would say with your distraction, don't roll this, but everybody else who is not distracted by their pain, roll a perception check.
Ooh, was this hearing? Or...
No, this will be seeing. Using your eyes.
Ooh.
Only 12. Clearly Tink is not paying attention right now.
Everyone hold on to your hats.
16.
16.
17.
17. Blimey.
Tantan rolled an 18. So
18. Okay. So
take that with your bug eyes.
So there's some great
180
rolls.
degrees.
Great rolls there. So Tink, what did you roll? Sorry.
12.
12. Okay. So Tantan,
great rolls. What did you roll again, Tink?
You spot it first. But over to the side of the road, you see a cart, just sort of like sat, sort of a little bit into the woods. You spy with your sight. You also see like it's got a broken wheel, and you sort of just see it just lying off to one side. Shortly after, Mac and Galen, you also see this, but it's sort of just hidden under some shadow, sort of just off the side of the road.
I'll nudge the closest person to me and be like, I think somebody's broken their cart over there. Maybe we could provide some assistance.
Okay, let us have a look. Hello?
Hello?
Is anybody there?
Hello? Is anybody there? There.
Who's copying me?
Echo.
Who's copying me?
Something strange going on, Tantan.
I think it's called an echo, but yes, the cart is rather odd as well.
At this
We
point,
have
I think Galen's just going to kind of gallop ahead and just head over to the cart.
Okay. So you sort of
Set it on fire.
You said head over to the cart. You see as you ride closer, you see two bodies. You see one sat sort of just to the side of the cart. A little bit of metal armor over his shoulder, and in his chest there's sort of a little mark. From this distance you can't really see what it is. You do also see sat at the front of the cart, just off to one side, like a head slumped to the side.
Attached to anything or just a head?
Yeah, it's just like a head on the top of a body, but it's just like you can see from here is just like a pair of shoulders and a head off to one side.
So at this point, I think Galen will dismount and go and investigate.
Okay, so as you get a bit closer, roll a investigation check. So perception, searching, please.
10, 11.
11. Okay, so as you sort of go around, you sort of notice there's the wound on the individual, and you sort of have a quick look around, and you notice that there's like a small shaft of wood snapped off, as if he's been shot in the chest with some form of arrow. You also sort of make your way round to the front of the cart, and you are greeted by just a sort of a smartly dressed man, but the front of his shirt is just sort of ripped and torn, and sort of just like he's got open wounds on his chest and torso.
And are these, they're just bodies, they're dead?
They are both very dead, yes.
Very dead. Can I check the cart?
Yeah, you have a look in the cart, and there's nothing there.
Can I have a wander over as well?
Yeah, I think I'm going to...
Tink is probably...
Yeah, everyone's going to have a...
All of you sort of are greeted by the same scene.
I look at Mac and say, have you been here before? And point at the guy with the arrow in his chest.
No, I have never been here before. I have not left the mountains before. This is all
Mac
very
didn't do
exciting.
Tink's
Say that again, sorry?
I'm saying, so Mac didn't do this.
No.
Could I try and investigate or try and figure out if it might have been a beast that attacked the other one, judging by the cuts on his
looking
torso?
Looking at the claw marks. Okay.
Yeah.
Roll an intelligence natural law test.
While Tantan's doing that, I think Tink's going to lean in at this guy and say, "Excuse me, sir, you appear to have torn your shirt. Would you like it repaired?"
You get no response.
Yeah, clearly. Tink has never seen a dead body before, like one like this.
I
He is
rolled
unaware.
2 1s and a 2 for a total of 8.
Do you know what? You've got no idea. It just looks like
Wow.
you have one of your moments like you're looking at it, and actually, at this time that Tink comes across and sort of starts mentioning about the ripped clothes, you actually start like looking at his clothes rather than the scratches, and you know, it almost looks better than your clothes.
Sizing it up, like, will it fit?
Hardly have better clothes than Tantan, though, is it?
Whoa!
I think at this point, Galen's just going to say, well, these roads don't seem safe. We should probably make haste to Montecresco, Tesco, wherever we're going.
They close at
But
10.
before he does that, can I just can I search the bodies, see if there's anything on them of value?
Okay.
So you can give it away to stable boys.
Okay, so I'm gonna say
Or his OnlyFans.
make a perception check, just general one, because there's lots of things that you could use here, but I'm gonna go for just a general one.
Well,
12.
Yeah.
Okay. You don't find anything on them. No coin pouches, nothing. It all seems to like have just been stripped from them. The one thing you do find, though, is that you sort of look a bit more at the wound, and you sort of grab hold of the little wooden shaft that you can see, and you pull out, sort of yank a little bit harder, and you get the arrowhead. It's very crude in nature. And the arrow itself is not made of steel or iron, but in fact stone.
Okay, so Gillis has got the focus in scouting.
Mm-hmm.
Could he look around and see the sort of, like, you know, you get those mad bits in movies where people look at the footprints in the stool and stuff like that and get a whole story about what happened.
Have a look.
In the stool?
They always look at the poo, man. They always look at the poo.
What do you
look.
elf I see?
it's not Jurassic Park. Jesus.
Oh, well, that's not actually good. I've got the focus 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And it's perception, yeah?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, perception, stool,
13.
investigation.
You don't find
13.
anything. You don't find anything. You sort of have a little
The
look around.
scat,
There's
man.
nothing.
Tink will probably just check inside the cart and see if there's anything that could be useful.
Yeah, so as Galen like sort of finishes look and says there's nothing there, Tink has a look and confirms that there is nothing there.
Oh, I thought he was only searching the bodies.
No,
Sorry,
he did.
I didn't
He had a
realise
look at the cart earlier.
Sorry.
Is
Okay.
there any way of us fitting this cart onto our horses, or is it proper knackered?
One of the wheels is broken.
All right.
At this point, I think Galen will just climb back onto his horse and say, "Let's move out and just be on our be on
Yes,
our
I
way."
can confirm there's nothing here, Galen. Well done. And then Tink's going to mount up as well.
Okay. So
Huzzah.
you as you mount up onto your horses and sort of continue to travel, you spend the rest of the day. And whilst this sort of this glade is relatively small, it does take you the majority of the day to traverse it. And all the while, the snow falls a little bit heavier. And sort of by the time that you sort of get nearer to the edge of the forest, and you can sort of start to see it sort of clearing out, you can see that the snow is sort of almost darkening faster as the sun sort of begins to set. What would you like to do?
How far away do we think, or could I ask Tink how far away we are from Montecresco?
You know that on horseback it's about 2.5 days, so you're probably about half a day from Montecresco.
He's not got a sat nav, but
Needs to go to upgrade, get that
yeah, he
added on.
does. Do we think feasibly we can make it in half a day in this snow?
I feel like after what we've just seen on the road, it might be best to stay on and rest when we get there, Tink.
Yes,
With
very
Galen,
well.
I think we grizz it.
Okay.
I believe we are close enough that we could make it just after nightfall.
I'd rather be tired than dead.
Okay.
Sensible.
So you continue to ride onwards as the
We
sun
should remain
sets.
vigilant.
As the sun sets, darkness begins to envelop. Even the moon now not on show. The sort of black storm clouds sort of gathering overhead, making sort of the scene almost darker. The only saving grace is the white of the snow sort of speckled throughout the trees and on the path ahead, sort of give you some little bit of light. As you reach the edge of the forest, you see sort of little lumps in the road, sort of far in the sort of corners of your vision. Who's got sort of dark vision out of all of you? I think it's just the elves. Oh, and the
I think I do as well.
Tink, have you got your lamps on?
I presumably he would put them on to see the road.
Okay.
So yeah.
Galen's just at the back. Have you got any light source with you, Galen?
I've just got my faith. You know.
Got your
Or
faith.
you could start a fire.
So as
Flint
you
and
sort
Steel
of,
just constantly doing this.
those of you with sort of dark vision, you can start to make out these little sort of what look like bodies, just sort of sat across the road, almost in your way on the path. And Tink, shortly afterwards, you actually, as you're moving your eyes across the road, you see these small sort of mounds that just look like slump bodies.
There appear to be some small mounds that look like slumped bodies, gentlemen.
How many are there?
To start with, as you're just approaching down here, you see about 5 or 6.
That's quite a lot.
Okay, so how deep is the snow at this point? I know it's just a dusting, but will it leave
So
footprints?
by this time of the day, it's about 1.5 inches on the ground now.
Okay, I just want to see if you see any sort of footprints in the area,
You have a quick look around, nothing.
so the bodies aren't fresh then.
No, as you look at the bodies,
So-
you can see sort of like the snow is like falling on top of them. So, you know, at first glance, like there's just all these mounds in the middle of the road, and you can sort of see the little bits of body that are still quite clear and obvious.
So there's something doesn't feel right to Galen about this. Like, you know, something telling him that this feels like an ambush. He's going to turn to Mac because he knows Mac's got a crossbow and says, "Mac, shoot one of those slumps in the road."
Mac is going to ignore him.
Okay.
Mac, I think Galen speaks sense here. This could possibly be an ambush from my limited knowledge of such skullduggery.
All right, Mac will shoot one of the dead bodies.
Okay. Roll to hit. First off, actually, can you roll a d6?
4.
To see which one.
4. Okay. Roll to hit.
10. No, 12 plus 13.
13?
13.
Yep, that hits. So you fire your crossbow. The sort of the ping of the noise echoes around in the forest around you, and this thwack as it hits its target. And there's almost like a squelchy thud as it hits whatever it was that you were shooting at. And it does not move.
I
Please
think
don't
it
be
is
another
dead.
child. Very well. Perhaps we should tread cautiously here. There could be, how do you put it, a trap?
Well, doesn't it seem odd that we're in the dead of winter, and there's no horses, there's no nothing, there's just a few bodies in the middle of a road?
Couldn't this be the traders, though? And someone's let the horses go, maybe? But then the caravan would still be here.
It's not
Tink
Greenpeace, though, is it?
Yeah,
You know?
Tink's not knowledgeable enough to say this. I mean, I thinking personally, I don't, but Tink's not too naive to really say much here about what he thinks. Or
Just
what
to
I
clarify, we've got the road ahead of us,
Mhm.
4 or 5 mounds, and then there's a tree line brackets the road, is it?
Yeah, it does. And it's starting to get a little bit sparser as you've gone on, and you can sort of
Okay.
see in front of you there's just darkness at the moment.
We not
So
see any.
I guess at this. Sorry, go on.
Can we not see any lights for like the town up ahead?
You
or
can see
anything?
nothing, no.
That's
At this
no
point, I
different from
think-
Tantan.
Galen's just gonna say, "Fine, I'll go and have a look at this." So he'll dismount from his horse.
Wait, Galen.
You guys stay here, and he's gonna go and kind of investigate the body.
Mac
or
is
the
going to
thing
ignore
that
him
Mac
and
just shot.
go up to him, go up next to him then.
Okay, Mac's gonna follow. So as you're walking along, Galen, you hear the trudge of the orc following you along.
Galen, did you want a torch? Because it is getting quite dark.
Do you have a torch?
Yeah, I have lots of torches. I'll hand him a torch.
A brush.
And at this point,
Whatever you do, just don't give me a
Could you-
torch.
Matt gives him a torch.
What am I going to do with this?
Would you like me to light it for you?
Oh, don't light it. Whatever you do.
Mac lights the torch.
Matt likes the torch and the flame. And as soon as the flame comes up, just sort of like next to you, Matt, you just hear this meh. As sort of Jeremy sort of come and sort of followed you and sort of is like looking up and around, and Jeremy sort of walks over to the nearest mound and sort of just starts like prodding it with its nose and sort of like then rears up and butts it with its horns.
Oh, do you like that one, Jeremy?
And it sort of looks around and meh, and butts it again.
I guess Mac will jump down and go over to Jeremy and have a play with him with the dead body.
Okay, so as you
give it a kick, and
as you sort of go there, you sort of give it a kick, and it's the one that you shot, and sort of as you kick it, it sort of flops over to one side, and you sort of see this old human, grey beard, grey hair, and you notice he's got no wounds on his front, and sort of as you sort of take a moment to look at this, there's nothing on his front that shows that he's sort of been injured in any way, but he is dead.
He's just going to pick him up and use him like a doll.
Okay. So as you pick him up and sort of use him like a doll and sort of pick him up in front of you, you notice that on the back, sort of as the snow moves off, you just see scratch marks and claw marks all over his back. And almost as you pick it up, you just see sort of like frozen flesh on his back. No blood coming from it, but you sort of takes you to a moment you to recognise that.
Could I try again to identify what beast might have caused such a thing?
Yeah, you can have another go.
Can't be worse than last time.
Oh, he said it no.
Yeah, jinxed it.
Oh, it's not bad. It's not bad. 5, 8 plus. Shut up.
Min.
That is 12.
12. Something with claws.
Gosh, I'm smart.
It seems like something with claws attacked this poor man. It wasn't knives or swords. It was a beast of some type.
Can Mac just, as he's playing with him, is he jingling? Has he got money on him? Has he got any possessions on him?
No.
I think that
I
whatever
think. Oh, sorry.
the animal may have stolen his money.
I nudged Chink and I'm like, are we the bad guys?
No, we did not kill these people. What
Well,
kind
they need to
of
be
clothes
buried
is he
properly.
wearing, John? Sorry, this guy.
Sorry?
What kind of clothes is the guy wearing? Can we see?
Yeah, so as you sort of have a look and you all sort of gathered around, the man that sort of Mac is currently like playing with Jeremy with, is just wearing commoner's clothes, simple trousers, simple shirt.
Okay.
I think Galen's going to try and kind of move some of these bodies out the road. It feels a bit kind of awful that they're all just slumped in the middle of the
Okay, so you start
freeway.
You start moving bodies out the way, and you notice as you do so, you pick up the first. It's an older woman, and you sort of move her to one side. And as you're moving her, you notice she too has these scratch marks on her back. As you go to move another one, you notice that they too have marks on their back. Then you pick up a fourth body. This time it's sort of a teenager. Again, scratches on the back. And this theme continues for each time you move each body to the side. And Gillis, as you said, a proper burial, and I assume you're going to return some of these to the earth?
It's sort of like, yeah, well, with the snow though, it's a bit of a delayed reaction, so I'm not going to get anything that instant gratification out of it, but they should be buried. I don't know their customs, so I just have to use mine.
Okay, so you take some time. So you almost pause and spend a little bit of time at these bodies, but the sun by now has completely set. What would you like to do?
You must have like an epic shovel if you can get through like frozen ground in the middle of.
Well, the ground isn't frozen. It's sort of like it's not frozen ground, but it is cold enough so that snow will settle.
All right.
Perhaps this might be pertinent to carry on moving. These people appear to have been disemboweled. Perhaps we should continue post haste.
Galen turned to Tink and say, if these people have been disemboweled, they would not have any bowels. They have been scratched on the back. You clearly haven't grasped human anatomy yet, Metal Man.
I am but an Orion. I'm afraid anatomy is not my skill set. I am a tailor. But still, the point stands. We should possibly move on.
Okay, so we have to do a rudimentary sort of burial at least. We could burn them.
I would rather not join them in their fate.
Could while these two are discussing that, can I have a look around us, see if there's anything prowling nearby?
Roll a
Pair
perception
of
check.
red eyes in the gloom.
Roll a perception check.
Okay. That is a 6, 8. That is a total of 10.
10? No, you can't see a thing. Nothing.
So, using my Gillis using his natural law,
Mm-hmm.
these people have always been killed by some sort of beast. But there doesn't seem to be any signs of feasting or eating. Beasts will kill for food or territory, but I understand any creatures that would just kill outright.
No, this doesn't sit right with you.
Okay. Guys, could you please give me a hand with these? We can't just leave them in the road. As much as it seems pertinent to move on, it'll take us 10 minutes just to put them to one side, a hasty grave, a cairn of rocks, anything.
Right.
think
Sorry,
I was,
Jeremy,
helping
and
move
Matt
to the
will
side.
bring his one over.
So you spend a little bit of time, moving the bodies to one side, and giving them a little rudimentary sort of burial. You sort of find some rocks, you sort of dig shallow graves, and you sort of arrange them sort of, together just off the side of the road. Would you like to continue on along the road?
Just mutter a prayer to the Great Lord Rook,
Okay.
and hope he accepts this offering when it thaws out.
Okay. So you continue your way along the path. About 30 minutes passes. And those of you with dark vision, you see a few more mounds of snow come into your vision. This time there's a few more than 6. And you start counting them. 10, 15, 20, 25.
Can Matt get to 25?
And then
He can probably get to 2.
as the forest opens up in front of you, you just see scattered in the area in front of you lots of bodies.
Oh, it is going to take us a long time to move all these.
But it must be done.
Oh, Matt gets down off his horse and starts moving the nearest one.
Okay.
Tink's head
Oh,
just swivels round to Gillis and just glares at him.
No, I give Tink a bit of a sort of a sly wink. This place is an absolute death zone. This is going to repopulate itself. Rook obviously will have a field day here, regardless of burying or anything. There's that much. I want to say produce.
Ooh.
Biomass.
Yeah, so I sort of make my mutter a
This
little prayer to Rook saying, "Touche."
doesn't bode well. I think we should make haste into Montecresco.
Okay.
Yeah.
I agree.
I
Yes, we
think-
should keep going.
Tink is starting to learn a bit, and he will actually draw his rapier out of his cane.
Okay. Draws the rapier out of his cane. So, as you make your way further along the path, darkness sort of envelops your surroundings. You continue to ride, and it must be getting a few hours into the night by now. And there's a momentary break in the clouds above you. And the light of the full moon shines onto the city. The scene is a somber one. You catch it in a glance. Montecresco, an impressive bastion, protecting Marquis from the wilds of the Drakvald. It's nestled on a strange, tiered rock formation that sort of appears out of nowhere. And you see that the river gently meanders around it, as if avoiding it, graciously bowing out the rock's way. It might not be the largest city. In fact, it's more like a glorified fort. However, there is no energy to this place. No noise. No chimney smoke. No lights. To your front, moments into the moonlight, you see sort of this impressive stone wall, a mix of light and dark stone that sort of, when combined, creates an impressive patchwork. Combined with the height of this wall and the darkness surrounding you, you cannot see into the buildings beyond, only to the cliffs and the plateaus above. And you sort of see that there's 2 further tiers, and from here, as the moonlight begins to disappear once more behind a cloud, you see it sort of shine off some sort of reflective dome at the top. As you get closer to the city, you see that the river that you've been following sort of is guided off to the right-hand side as well, but done by hand. It's been manipulated to go around and alongside the walls. Nestled at this junction of the river lies a fortified drawbridge, and beyond that, a gatehouse into the city. The drawbridge has a tower on each riverbank and 2 large wooden structures, one each side of the river. The issue is that it's currently up.
Looking around, does there appear to be anyone on this side of the drawbridge?
On this side of the drawbridge, sort of like all you see is sort of the scattered bodies, and it's sort of just been a regular thing since leaving the forest. And probably.
Hello, can you let the drawbridge down, please?
No response.
There goes the stealthy option. Tantan's going to sort of turn to the group and be like, I don't know if it's just me, but I don't have a very good feeling about this.
This is very suspect. How are we going to get over the...
Curious. Everyone appears to be asleep.
In a way, I suppose you're right. But no, they're dead.
Oh, well, this changes things.
What do you think happened here?
Presumably everybody died.
Does it look like there was a struggle, John? Like, are these soldiers, or are they...
So, the ones that you sort of have seen, and you've stopped to look at, and they've all been commoners. They've all just been, every single one of them, shot in the back, scratched in the back, wounds in the back. That's all you've noticed from the ones that you've sort of occasionally stopped and paused at. This is actually the first time when you sort of come up to this first gatehouse with the first drawbridge. You do see the first sort of like almost armoured individual. You sort of see a blade held in his hand just to one side, and you sort of see this sort of almost like gladiatorial armour that sort of runs across his arm. The people who sort of live in Montecresco are like, this is a place where sometimes mercenaries just come to live, because it's a place of battle, and there's lots of expeditions to be had, and the guard here tend to be quite hardy, and you see this individual and he's got this sort of dark royal blue tabard sort of that just runs down his front, and sort of the rest of his armor is basic leather, but he too is sat there, but the difference to his wounds is you sort of see some of the scratch marks are on his face, and he looks like he put up a bit of a fight.
Tink's just going to turn to the group and say, well, gentlemen, I've run out of ideas, so perhaps we should return to Marquis.
I like your thinking, Tink, but last time we were in Marquis, it didn't kind of go so well for, well, specifically you, or any of the rest of us, to be honest.
Yes. Very well. Then perhaps we should find somewhere to remain alive.
So
Always a priority.
this has a moat around it, does it? And then a drawbridge drops down over the moat.
From where you're at the moment, what you can
Gauging the
see is you
distance to
see
throw
this,
Tantan.
this drawbridge that's currently up. Behind the drawbridge, as you sort of look to the side, you can see there's a gatehouse behind, and the wall is sort of like a square wall that sort of runs at the base of this sort of 3-tiered mountain that sort of has large cliff sides. It's rather like if you imagine a wedding cake, a tiered wedding cake, but cut in half, so that the sheer side is where the river goes round, and down the bottom is where there's a sort of like this square wall that goes around the edge. From where you're stood at the moment, you can only see the gatehouse to your front, and basically a tower, and you can kind of see, those of you who've got dark vision, the wall just sort of continuing in a straight line just further into the darkness. But there's a little moat just running around the edge of it.
And observing from where we are, does it look like that there is no observable way into?
No, at the moment you're looking at the drawbridge. The drawbridge is up. I would say you probably wouldn't be able to see this with your light, but anyone who's got dark vision is looking past the drawbridge would see that the gatehouse is shut.
Okay, so does a lot of the people on the outside were killed by the defenders, or is it genuinely looking deserted?
You just can't see anybody at the moment.
All right.
Is there a way to lower the drawbridge from this side, from
Okay.
the tower this side?
So as you sort of like start investigating, Tick, you make your way into this little room on the side, sort of near the base of this little fortified tower, and you see that there is some sort of contraption, a little bit of very sort of, you know, a crude version of the stuff that you saw in the caves up near Tosca. You know, this sort of steam work of cogs and various other things, and there's 2 buttons.
Am I able to see which colour the buttons are, or is there anything?
Well, with
discernible
your
on the
light,
buttons?
you shine them off. There's a green one and a red one.
Tink will press the green one.
Presses the green
Oh
one.
no!
As he presses the green button.
No, because like there's no one in the city, and they clearly used it as they probably trapped the thing in there. Oh no!
So as you press the green button, that you hear this clunk, and you sort of hear this clack, and sort of like cogs start to move, and chains start to release, and the wood starts to creak, and you sort of just hear this metallic chain going clump, 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 as the drawbridge just loudly drops itself down. You've dropped half the drawbridge, and sort of as you look out through the little window in front of you, you see that the other half is still up from the other side.
Galen's going to be like, I've got a really bad feeling about this.
Good news,
Whatever
gentlemen.
you've done, whatever you just pressed, Tink, undo it now.
So he'll press the red button, then he'll listen to Galen at this
Okay,
point.
the same process happens, but in reverse.
So he'll press the green one again.
It goes down. It takes about 5 minutes each time. So for the next 10 minutes, you're sort of there watching this drawbridge just go up and down, up and down.
Tink's going to call out to the other side. Good news, gentlemen. I've figured out how to raise and lower the drawbridge.
It may be pertinent to investigate why the river got diverted before we decide to step into the uninhabited fort that clearly has no sign of life bustling from within.
Presumably, the river was diverted to enable them to build on this site. I do not believe it was a sinister motive.
Unless you need a fresh water supply. Being an Orion, you obviously wouldn't understand this, but we humans need to drink.
Yes, it is a weakness of you flesh
And
creatures.
elves.
Well,
So just to clarify, when you said half the drawbridge went down, does that mean that we can only get halfway across
You
the
can
river?
only get halfway across the river, yes.
I think
It's almost as
Mac
if-
will go and,
It's almost as
go and
if
have a look.
you're going to go have a look. You're going to stand in the middle of the river.
No, on the
It's
drawbridge.
hovering
On
over
the
the red
drawbridge.
button.
So you're stood halfway through, stood halfway across, and you sort of see that the contraption behind you is identical to the one in front of you, apart from the bridge is up.
Is the drawbridge made of wood?
It is made of wood,
Ooh.
yes.
Can I sort of manipulate the wood into regrowth to extend the bridges? It wouldn't be like a full tree. It would be more of a log going across, perhaps. But even then, I'm thinking ahead. Actually, if we do get across, we're still stuck with the flat face of the drawbridge, aren't we? Covering the
You
gatehouse.
can make your
Go round.
regrowth go up.
Mhm.
That
Yeah,
expands you.
like Mario Brothers.
Okay.
not Fortnite.
So,
Jesus.
I think that's
Fortnite.
The lemmings just building the bridge.
Wow.
there's a reference for all the Fable of Fortnite.
Or can we stop the bridge halfway at 45 degrees and just belt it with the horses?
Okay.
Ramp it.
I'm gonna say I would say, because it says a mature tree enjoys a year growth. Now, dead wood will return to life, sprouting branches, roots, and even leaves. I would say, if you wanted to do this, which I would allow you to do, but in order to basically sort of do what you're after, which is a massive amount of energy, I'd say you can do that, but it will cost you... I'm going to look at your advance. It's going to cost you 15 magic points to do.
Okay, cool. Let me just see what my bargain gets me.
While he's doing that, are there any twigs on the ground nearby, John?
You can have a look for some. There's a layer of snow at the moment.
I'd like to play poo sticks, please.
Okay, so make a searching check for a stick. Go on, Jay.
Yes.
I'll roll my cube. 663.
Yeah, that's good.
6 is on the stunt dice.
With a double, so that gives you 6 magic stunt points as well, if you like.
Okay. So according to my soulbound talent, I can do the mighty spell and powerful casting for -1 stunt point.
Nice.
I don't remember what those do though.
Okay, so you've got mighty spell is if the spell does damage, one target the spell takes an extra d6.
No damage.
And what was the other one, did you say?
Sorry. I'm trying to put it in the right album. Mighty spell or powerful casting?
Powerful casting. That's increase the spell power of your spell by 1 per stunt point to a maximum of 3. So that's good for like if I've got to resist or something.
No worries. Yeah, because this is resist based.
So I would say that really with what you've got there, with 6 spells, with 6 stunt points, whilst there aren't any there, I think you get this off, and you can manipulate the wood how you want.
Okay. So
really, your mate.
Yeah.
Bridge.
Yeah, just I'd like to make a little seat because my back is killing.
I hadn't noticed you hadn't brought that up.
Yeah. Oh, we're back. Weather's changing. Yeah, so I just want to try and get us to a point where we can activate the drawbridge on the other side.
So you spend a bit of time doing that. Tantan, what did you roll?
14.
14. Okay, you find a stick.
I'm going to go over to the edge of the bridge and throw it in the water.
You throw it in the water.
Turn around and in my fastest old person shuffle, go to the other side and start counting in my head how long it takes for it to go underneath the bridge.
Okay, you're sort of there counting for a while. Roll a perception check.
Oh dear.
This is not acrobatics. This
Perception check. Not the best. 8.
8. Okay.
Yep.
So you start counting. 1, 2, 3. And as you're doing this, Gillis is sort of building this, and everybody's sort of watching Gillis sort of manipulate this wood and sort of continue casting regrowth and moving around. Tantan, you're there. 30, 31, 32. And sort of it takes you a little bit of time to sort of manipulate this wood. You know, probably about 10, 15 minutes as sort of Gillis sort of is there. And Tantan, you're there. 600, 601, 602.
10 minutes.
and sort of you're still counting whilst Gillis sort of finishes the sort of makeshift bridge that sort of enables him to get across to the other side. Gillis, what are you going to do when you're the other side? And Tantan, you're still counting, by the way.
Okay.
Can I see the reciprocal button of this side?
Yeah, you quite easily, you get into there and you sort of see there's 2 buttons. Although you're looking at the dark, so one of them is grey and the other one is grey.
No,
923.
So I guess dark vision is more like
it's grayscale.
Monochrome. Yeah. Okay. I'll just shout over, Tink, which one's the green one, left or right?
On this side, it was on the left.
Okay. I mean, imagine if it's already up. It doesn't matter which one I press because either nothing's going to happen or
press
something.
the green one.
Yes, thank you, Tink. Yes. So I was going to hit the left-hand one.
Okay, you hit the left one. It takes about 5 minutes, but there's that metallic movement of cogs and chains, and the bridge drops down, and as it does so, it snaps the bridge that you've built from the other side, and it sits slightly wonky in the centre as it rests on this wood that's grown from its death. You now have a way into the city.
So the gatehouse itself, is it like a portcullis, or is it just an open gate now?
So the gatehouse itself it's shut, but it's just it sort of looks shut at the moment, but it's just these giant sort of big wooden doors that you can see from your side now.
Okay. Just sort of like a wolf whistle to tell the guys that they can come over if they want, bring the horses.
Got all that.
Well done,
into a wolf
Gillis.
whistle.
Do a wolf whistle.
Yep. Was that like that Spanish island where they do the yeah, it's an
panpipes.
No, there's like a language they do with whistling throughout the
Oh,
mountains.
it's
'cause it
South
echoes.
America. Yeah.
That's South America, is it?
I thought it was, or maybe it is Spain. I can't remember.
I don't know.
I know the one you
yeah.
mean.
Okay. Does everybody make their way across?
Yeah.
Okay.
Quick question:
Yes.
with Gillis's bridge being destroyed, would a twig now float underneath the bridge?
A lot of twigs drop and float underneath the bridge as you're getting to probably about 1,000 now of counting.
We're like, it was probably one of them. Okay, where are we going? Oh, the bridge has come down now. Let's go. Toss
Come
across
along,
the
Tan
bridge.
Tan, and then like Tink would just hand Tan Tan in the reins of his own horse because he was bringing both.
Okay. So you sort of get to this large wooden door, currently shut. What would you like to do?
Mac's going to knock on it.
Yeah.
Okay. As you knock on it, it moves ever so slightly.
Oh no!
Oh, Mac's going to give it a shove then.
It opens.
Hello.
And it's like a heavy door, and you sort of push it back. And as you do so, as you open the door and you reach through and go, hello, in front of you, just by your feet, this body slumps down across in front of your footsteps. And you look down at your feet and you see this, again, sort of a bit of metal on both shoulders, sort of a halberd sat in his hands, just this sort of deathless eyes just sort of roll up, just lying down on the floor in front of you.
Tink has now started scanning like left and right. Like perceptibly, I think the others have noticed that he's doing it a lot more frantically than he was previously. Gentlemen, I appear to be feeling something. I'm unaware of these particular feelings.
That happens when you reach a certain age. It is normal, Tink. Do not worry. You might find you have some strange dreams. They are normal too.
Very well, I am.
Bits
I am
of you may
96.
grow.
If you pee your batteries while you're resting, it's all normal.
So yeah, Tink has become sort of hyper aware at the moment, but he doesn't really know how to process it. He's not really sure what fear
Gillis
is.
is doing the math, and whatever's going on here, it's probably killed in surplus of like 30 odd people. And there's 6
Would
of
it be
us,
wise
5
for
of
us to shut the drawbridge, raise it whilst we're on the other side?
We'll trap ourselves in.
Yeah, I don't think so. I think we know that's a safe route out currently.
Or do we want to let the thing that might be in here out?
Well, it was already out if it killed them all
Is
the
it?
other side of the moat.
How do we know that?
Well, how do we know that it didn't shut the drawbridge after itself when it came out?
I say we just leave it open. Currently, the drawbridge is life. I don't know.
Mac's going to poke his head round the door and have a
Okay.
bit of a look.
Okay, so you poke your head round and you sort of like look, and sort of in front of you, it's sort of like just a snowy scene. You can sort of see, sort of with your vision, just a little bit in, you see the odd body, just here and there.
Everyone
Make it
seems
sound
to
so
be dead.
pleasant. What's an odd body?
Shall we go in?
Yeah. I'll push in alongside Mac.
Are
does
we
the
going to
city
leave
look
the
like?
horses outside, or?
I was about to shoot them.
Why?
Why?
I knew we were the
Why
bad
would you
guys.
shoot the horses,
Paid
Tink?
15 gold for these horses.
If we
Excellent.
return them, we pay more
Gold
money.
Too much. Very well. We shall tie them up here.
Gillis is going to use his focus and scouting to just try and get a lay of the land, see if you can tell what's happened here.
Okay.
Obviously, dead people, but...
Okay. Roll a perception check.
That sounds good. 10, 11, 12, 12.
Okay, you sort of had a little look around. The snowy scene just sort of covers anything that came before. You just sort of see these little mounds just covered by snow. The strange thing is, like, you see the odd smashed window here and there. In the streets, mostly, as you're sort of, like, looking, you can't really see much about these sort of bodies. You just assume they're more because they look identical to everything that you've passed so far.
All right, Mac is just going to load his crossbow and get it out, but this is a bit odd.
Okay.
Are there any
Galen
houses?
would also.
So, sort of
Nearby?
in front of you, as you're sort of there in the night, is every so often when the moon sort of shines through, you sort of see this sort of avenue in front of you, and actually, it stays light just long enough in the full moon that you sort of see what looks like a main street, and then at the far end you see this wide staircase just sort of reflect ever so slightly into the darkness of the side of the cliff that leads up to the next plateau in front.
I mean, are we moving through the gate now as a group, or are we kind of like still peeking around?
I think Mac has gone in.
Okay. I will have headed
Gellis
in
went
with
in
you.
to have a look around as well with his scouting skill.
Cool.
I think he's kind of clutching someone's shoulder, like tightly, because he doesn't want to like be too far away from them.
Could I have a look inside the nearest building, please, John?
Okay, so you sort of have a look. The nearest building is just to your right. It's a stable house, and sort of you just see sort of the straw underneath the side, protected from the snow. Again, you see a body sort of just sat to one side. This time, this person's got wounds sort of almost all over.
Does it look like the door was caved into the house, or?
Yeah, the door's broken to this house. Yeah.
Okay.
Can I do a check to see like these bodies or mounds that we see on the floor, like how freshly like
Do you know
dead
what?
do we think these people?
You're not sure. Like, it's almost like because it's been quite cold here, and this is a little bit closer to the mountains, and you sort of have a little look. I'd like you to roll go for an intelligence. Let's go for. Let's go for intelligence healing. Whilst you're not healing them.
15.
15, okay. Relatively fresh, but not massively fresh. You can't really tell. It's like they're not rotting. You know, maybe if they weren't under the snow, they might be a bit fresher, but it's sort of the snows and the day's cold has kind of made it a bit difficult to tell.
Where should we head from here? I mean, where might we find a diver in the city if he's even still alive? That is.
That's a good point. I'm ready to write this guy off. This place is a dead zone.
Can I like ask everyone in the group? Has anyone seen this sort of devastation before? I mean, I've only seen sort of the wayward spells of wizards, but it's normally sort of burns and magical injuries. I've never seen anything like this before.
Gillis just shrugs his shoulders. Letting nothing away.
If everybody in here is dead, does that mean that we own this city?
And Tink launches into a long. Tink launches into a long explanation of like, you know, mayoral law and like the law of possession and such, and how it doesn't apply here. No, we don't own the city.
That is a shame.
You could pretend, however.
What Tink Town?
Okay, what would you like to do, folks?
I guess push further into the city.
Okay.
head
Okay.
towards the
Do
stairs.
these people look like they died trying to run away out of the city, or
Okay.
did they just?
So it's a bit of a mix. Some of them look like they're running. So the odd body that you check, some of them have got wounds in their back. Those that have got armor and weapons, they seem to have like put up some sort of fight. But they sort of almost like, you know, they didn't come off well. They all have these scratch marks. Some of them are shot with these sort of crude stone arrows, all of which are snapped. But yeah, sort of you take a few moments to sort of check, and you know, you continue to press on a little bit into the city as you sort of do this, and you're sort of in the entranceway, and you sort of see this sort of like, for those of you who can, this little avenue going forwards.
So in this sort of age of enlightenment that we're in, with sort of black powder, magic, sort of a quasi sort of 16th century
Yep.
going on, would there be any sort of famous subcultures or anything that use Stone Age weaponry that we would know of?
You would know that like primitive weapons like that are normally used by beastkin.
Okay. Guys, this looks like a beastkin attack.
What is beastkin?
Let me to educate you.
So, as Gillis begins to reel off what beastkin are essentially the term that is given to sort of the more feral, humanoid organisms that live in sort of the forests. Beastkin tend to be more... they tend to just sort of roam in packs. They don't tend to sort of like attack big cities like this. They're the kind of things that if you venture too far into the Drakvald, they'll attack. And there's, you know, the odd beastkin attack that sort of happens if you live near the forests and such.
So like kobolds or...
Not quite kobolds, sort of like, you know, there's different kinds, small ones, big ones.
Okay.
Some as big as your head.
Oh, I was about to say that. Oh. It's a week night. I'm slower today.
A lovely
Hey-o.
bunch of coconuts.
Beastkin.
They're all standing.
So,
around.
what are you guys
Let
going
us
to do?
head into the centre and find
Yeah,
out
I
what
think-
went on here.
Tink is
And
just
decide
gripping.
if we need to leave this place.
I'm gonna randomize whose shoulder he's gripping, but he's basically just become a bit of a dead weight at this point. I'm afraid it's Tantan.
Whoa!
So sort of like Tantan
You are
walking
desperate.
he's afraid, but he doesn't know what fear is, and he's just gripping hold of Tantan and like
So,
staying that close to him all the time.
as you sort of make your way, you sort of get to the main sort of what seems to be the marketplace. There's sort of like a fountain in the centre that sort of, in this eerie silence of the city, is still operating. Still this flowing water. You know, the fresh snow all around, and in front of you there's the staircase that leads up to the next level. And from here, again, when the moon comes through, you can see that staircase leads up once more. Whilst you're stood there at the base of these stairs, deciding on what you want to do next, we'll have a quick little break.
Ooh.
All right.
So,
Pea time.
we'll be
We're
back
pausing
in
the
a
recording.
moment, just after a quick bio break. But I hope you're enjoying the show, and we'll catch you in a minute. Hello, and we are back from our little break. So, let's carry on with the adventure at hand. Our group find themselves currently in the sort of marketplace area with the staircase leading up in front of them, up to sort of the second tier. And as you get to the base of this staircase, you do sort of see that there are sort of some guards almost like trying to, maybe they were trying, I don't know, protect this staircase. But there's a couple of bodies just sort of slumped at the bottom. Sort of, you know, there's a shield down to one side and sort of a couple of blades down. And again, they've got similar kind of wounds to sort of bodies that you've come across before.
So, quick question: the marketplace itself, is there sort of the basis of market stores?
So there's some sort of smashed up stalls. You sort of see broken wooden crates around. You do see a sort of a smithy off to the side. You sort of see what you'd expect from a sort of like a small marketplace. There is an inn on the corner as well.
I'm
Has
trying
the
to work
place
out-
been looted?
It seems like sort of quite a few things have gone. Like just sort of everything seems ransacked.
Yeah, I was trying to work out if this attack had happened when the market was in full flow, so like a daytime market trading period. It's just happened all of a sudden, or did it happen at night when the market was closed down as such?
So, it's a good observation that you try to make. Sort of as you look around, again, there's sort of like little mounds here and there. With the bodies where they are, you sort of see some like almost like there's like this river flow of people sort of towards the city gates, as if they were running away. That's kind of what you get. There's no sort of like gathering of people in the marketplace, and nor are there sort of stalls ready to go. Like, and you couldn't really tell because they're so smashed up.
Gentlemen, perhaps a vantage point may be more useful. We're not really learning much from down here, other than seeing many bodies. Perhaps
Tink,
Good observation.
Tink, do you think those stone arrows would go through your metal skin?
I would not like to find out, Mac, if I'm perfectly honest.
Mac is just going to sidle up behind Tink.
So I think you said like in the center of this place there's like a well. Did you say?
Yeah, a little
there's like
fountain.
running water.
Yeah.
I think Galen at this point is just going to head towards that. I think
another coin in.
fancies like a. I'm not going to toss a coin to anyone. He's probably just a bit parched, you know. He's not had a
little drink
of fresh water in a while, so he's going to go up to that, and he's going to just turn around to Mac and go, just don't go wandering off anywhere. And then he's going to walk up to the well.
Mac is very confused by this. I guess he's going to look around and then wander, I guess.
Nobody else is moving.
So,
hang on, you said that he wouldn't do what Galen said, not do the opposite of what Galen says.
So sort of there, Galen's having a little drink, and Max just start like walking in circles, but like not wanting to venture far from where Tink is. So you sort of like he walks away a little bit, and then walks back, and then walks away a little bit, and then walks back, but because he just doesn't want to leave Tink in some ways, because he's sort of still using him a bit as a shield. But he does do a little bit of wandering, just in a very small area.
I want Galen to work out what Mac's doing and ask him to not give him his crossbow. So let's just try and advance up the stairs, I suppose, isn't it?
Yeah, make our way up to the top, I guess.
I think higher ground might be useful.
Okay, so you sort of start to make your way up. Sort of at this time, you know that the crunch of the snow below your feet is now sort of about 2 inches thick. But there's sort of it's starting to wane a little bit, and sort of the snowfall's relaxing, and the sort of the moonlight is starting to shine through a little bit more as the clouds above you clear. You sort of meander your way up through this staircase that's sort of inlaid into the cliffside, and you sort of reach a second level of this open plateau in front of you. It's not very large. It sort of spreads out, and along here you sort of see that there are larger sort of houses with sort of grand plantations outside. The houses themselves are sort of ransacked and ruined. And just to your left, the staircase continues up onto the side, and again there's more bodies just sort of littered every so often up the staircase.
If I had the run of a city, where would I go? Says Tink, like to himself almost.
Galen's going to turn to Tink and say, well, I'd probably go up. So I think we should probably head on and follow these bodies.
Yes, the interior of the highest building is presumably a palace, I'm assuming, or something up on the top level.
It looked like it's certainly a very grand building at the top.
Have we managed to pinpoint how old these bodies seem?
Galen had a little look earlier. He couldn't quite tell. Like, they're not rotten. They're sort of well preserved, but also they're not sort of oozing red blood.
Okay.
Gross.
Okay, let's keep pushing it then.
Okay. Who's going first?
Definitely not Tink.
Definitely not Galen.
Definitely not Tantan. Are we all going to do this?
It's just
Mac is behind Tink, and Tink is holding on to Tantan's shoulder.
Yeah. It's like mini conga.
Galen or Gillis?
I'll go first.
Okay, Gillis goes first.
I'll go at the back. I'll let Tantan go behind Gillis.
So
yeah, that's brilliant. Let's have the two clothies on point. How are we? You got Tantan?
Okay. So you make your way up the second step of stairs. They sort of meander their way around the side, and from here you have a great vantage point over the sort of these almost like larger complexes just down on the first plateau. And you do see this giant crane sort of just on one side that sort of looks like some sort of mechanism by which to bring things up onto this plateau. And you sort of wind your way up, you reach sort of the furthest point of the cliff, and then it turns back on itself further into the rock. As you make your way further up towards the top, you start to sort of approach what looks like a small tower at the top of the staircase. And you get closer. And sort of the crunch of the snow under your feet. There's a small wooden door, Gillis, that you come to. It's smashed in. The metal supports are buckled. And the thin white sheet of snow starts to recede as the cover of the building shields the floor. You begin to notice the red stain of blood coming from the darkened room. Mac, from your position a couple of metres back, I would like you to make a smelling perception check, please.
Gillis has indeed shat himself.
So has Tink, funnily enough.
Just oil leaking out.
Yeah.
You got a brush for that.
I probably do.
15.
15. Okay. You smell what you get like a tang of rotten flesh on your nose.
It doesn't smell very nice up ahead, people.
What does it smell of, Mac?
Like bad food.
Okay. That's the least of our worries in this place, Mac. So yeah, Gillis is going to just try and not push the door open, but try and see if he can see through the splintered
As you
beams
sort of
of the
like
door.
look in, like the way in which the moonlight sunny, even with your dark vision, you like looking. You can't quite see enough with the smashed door, sort of like concealing sort of what's inside. It just sort of like looks like darker shadow from where you're currently stood.
Okay, that's the only entrance we can see.
Only entrance. It's like sort of like a little guardhouse at the top of the stairs.
Okay. He's
Is
just
that
gonna...
the top of the stairs of the second one, or the top of the stairs?
This is right at the top. You're right at the top now.
Oh, at the top of the... Right, okay.
I'm going to try and test the door, just give it a bit of a...
The door opens. It creaks as it does so.
Of course it does.
Yeah.
Be
So-
creepy without it.
Yeah, no WD-40 in this...
Ask Tink for some.
Yeah,
Yeah.
needs it for his special times. Moving swiftly on. Yeah, just... has anyone got like a torchlight? It's obviously...
Gaden has a torch lit at the moment.
Yep. Galen stood at the back. Torch lit.
But do I still have the torch lit? I think it probably would have gone out by now. We were
it'll be
13.
fine.
Okay. I'm at the back though.
Pass the torch.
If only there was some way for you to get to the front.
Yeah.
With your
I mean,
legs, maybe.
how narrow is this corridor?
The door itself is sort of like enough room for maybe 2 people to walk through at once.
Yeah, I just sort of like do a hand gestures for either Galen with the torch or just send me the torch, please.
So I'm just going to pass on the torch.
Okay. pass on the torch.
I'll be like, Mac, pass this to Gillis. He's after it.
Oh no, Mac is just gonna hold on to the torch and look around confused.
Mac, you can pass that to Gillis if you wish.
Okay, Mac is gonna pass the torch forwards.
Okay. So you pass the torch. Gillis, you get hold of the torch. What do you do?
The first thing is just look back at everyone and just shake my head.
Okay.
For the fact that I'm on point. Got 2 heavily armored people and a guy whose skin's made of metal, but I'm on point with a bad back. I'm not sure if I've mentioned it.
I've heard you've also got saddle sores. Is that
Yes.
right too? Okay,
Yeah,
just
he
checking.
just wants to get this over and done with so he can just put his bum in the snow. Yeah, so just push the door to and sort of lean in with the torch held high.
As you walk through the door, as you walk through the threshold, the smell hits you. The smell of flesh, blood, and early rot. You hold the
They're
torch
cheeky
up
Nando's.
and cast your eye around the room. You see claret staining almost everything. On one side of the room lies slumped half a body, guts hanging out from where its legs should be. On the other side, a body whose face has been chewed out by some unknown creature. There are 2 other bodies, not in the same garb as the guards. They look a little bit more mercenary in your attire. I would like you to make a constitution throw, please.
Literally,
Shanded everywhere.
why people work for dead bodies. Constitution is 3. Oh, no.
Yeah,
So
but this is
yeah,
one body in
total.
multiple places. So
Yeah, this is I've got a grand total of 11.
11. Okay, so Tink, you hear just that noise. As soon as Galen walks in, you hear a... Gillis, I would also like you to make a willpower test, please.
I've got self-discipline
Yep,
as a
go on.
focus.
Yep, you can add 2 to this roll.
So adding 5 total gives me, oh, Jesus. 7, 12 again.
12? Okay, that's fine. Good. What are the rest of you going to do?
Only
Hearing
time
that
I got to use
noise,
self-discipline. Jesus.
we'll just sort of be like, is everything okay in there, Gillis?
Turn around and say, like, have a little bit of a burp. So everyone's dead. It's worse than it was out there. It's carnage inside.
Mac's gonna see if he can poke his head around the door, perhaps push everyone else forwards if he wants to have a look.
I want to see.
So, as you sort of like push, I'd like you to make a little strength check as you do that.
Versus.
Yeah, I was going to say, can we do an opposed?
Yeah, roll an opposed strength. Go on. Here we go.
He'll
16.
16.
I'm happy to let him go past. I'm
Oh,
just
Yeah,
that's
I
a
don't
really good
think
roll.
Tink's going to resist. I think he's not. He doesn't really know what to do at this point. He's like he's almost in a catatonic
What's
state.
a tank?
14.
No, so he bundles you both in. So, as you all sort of get thrown in, I would like you all to make a constitution throw, please.
Apart from me, I'm at the back. I've just seen everyone bundle up into this room.
All right, 13.
13.
Oh, my
hold
goodness.
Hold it down.
Was there wasn't stamina in this?
You
Was
sort
it?
of
Was
go-
it discipline?
17.
17. Tantan, you are also fine.
11.
11. Tink,
There's oil
as you
all
get
over the
there,
floor.
the smell, gets right up into your olfactory canal. And it messes with the wiring. And sort of as you get there, you sort of almost... You splutter out, and so this oil just flies out your mouth a little bit, and you feel really disgusted at what just happened, and you're really confused by it. I would also like you to make make a willpower test, please. And in fact,
Self-discipline?
no, sorry, only Tink. Sorry, only Tink, please make
Oh,
a willpower
God.
test.
Oh, it was a good roll as well.
Oh man, my dice are not working tonight. 8.
8. Okay,
Oh,
you're a little bit shaken by this.
Yep.
You are now frightened.
Ooh.
So
I mean, he wasn't
Emotions.
before.
So, essentially, you don't know what caused this. So your natural instinct is you can still be there. You don't have to run away from it. You're not terrified. But if you try and do any action, you're going to be at -2 to your roll.
Jeez.
Ooh.
Might get the first negative roll of the
Tink's
night.
software update must have been a bit dodgy.
Yeah.
He's
Galen,
giving him emotions.
What are you going to do?
Well, hearing all this commotion in the room, I'm just like, someone in trouble?
I'll be out
Everything
here
right
if
there?
you need me.
But you don't have your torch anymore. You're just there in the dark
Yeah.
on your own.
Like, what's going on in there, guys?
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 Nobody
Um,
answer.
Tink is not feeling very well.
Yeah, he's pulled out like a monogrammed handkerchief out of his pocket square, and he's just wiping up the oil. It's maybe dribbled around his chin a bit.
Someone has been a bit creative when they killed the people in here.
Do you need me to come in?
Yes. Come on in, Galen.
Very well. I'm
With the
going to go in.
slaughter's fine.
Okay, so as you go in, you're greeted by the same scene, and then the smell hits your nose. I'd like you to make a Constitution check, please. And the rest of you in this room, whilst you're looking around, you do see that there's a second exit out into sort of what is the plateau above.
11.
11. Okay, you throw up as soon as you walk in. the
Why
smell.
would you do this to me?
There's nowhere else to go. We needed to get in the light. We needed to make sure you were safe. You look kind of safe.
I would also like you to make a willpower check, please, Galen.
He's got much better willpower than Tink.
11.
You are also frightened.
Oh no.
Galen, one final roll for you, please. I would like you to roll a... do you have a D100 on you or not? Or shall I roll it for you?
No, I don't have one. But I don't like people rolling dice for me,
Don't-
so...
Do it on
You're
your
gonna have
phone.
to do it.
Get a dice roller.
It's all right.
Let me have a look.
Go on. See
got
if
two
you...
Look at my
D10s.
magic
Adam,
cabinet of
Adam.
dice. Hang on.
2
I've
D10s.
got some dice. My magic box of dice here. Here we go.
There you
I'll
go.
find something.
2 D10. We'll do it.
That's
I've
the same
got
amount of
some
dice Mac
D10s,
rolls for
so I'm
damage.
gonna...
Got some D10s. Okay.
So first one. Oh, hang on. First one. Oh no. It's 20 something. 26.
Okay. Galen, you are also going to have a crisis of faith.
The thing that keeps the lights on.
What this means for you, because you draw your power from a divine being, like the imagery and what's been happening over the last sort of half a day, seeing all these bodies fleeing, seeing this scene in here, not knowing what it is that's caused it, it means that you cannot use any magic points or magic abilities for the rest of until you next sort of have a moment to calm yourself.
Oh my god.
Oh my god, that's so harsh. So that the fire guy who couldn't cast fire anyway now has no chance whatsoever of casting fire.
Well, until I have a moment, but
Still got the flint and
Yeah, so
steel.
basically you have to correct a crisis of faith. You have to either have a moment that reinstores your faith, or spend a little bit of time just sort of like pausing and reflecting on things. Basically, like a rest, where you sort of sit and reflect and do nothing else. Okay. So the rest of you are there, greeted by the scene. There is a door at the side. You very much get the impression, just scanning your eyes around the room, that these people sort of, died protecting this area.
Is there any clue as to what it was that they were protecting? Whether it's a person, an object?
Not here, no. It looks like they were sort of guarding. This is a choke point, and they were the poor souls that were left here to guard this checkpoint.
Can Tantan try and see if there are any side rooms to this?
No, this is literally this is like just a tower atop a hill that's like slightly fortified. Like the door behind you is one that could be locked and sort of guarded. As you sort of like look, there is a staircase up to a level above.
Okay. Can I start heading up that?
Yeah,
please?
so you peer up there, and it's literally a little area where there's 2 arrow slits into the side of the tower that would be for people to just shoot arrows down at whoever's sailing up the staircase. But there are no people up there.
Tink, if we tried to kill everyone in the city, how many people do you think we would manage to kill before they stopped us?
It takes Tink a moment or two to even acknowledge Mac, because he's just rooted to the spot in fear. A city of this size would require, and then he just kind of he slips off. He's completely catatonic at this point. I think he doesn't even answer. He's too afraid.
Mac is just going to tap him on his head. Tink.
Yes, Mac. Sorry. Hello.
Are you okay, Tink?
No, I believe something is wrong with me.
I do not know a lot about metal people, but I can try and fix you if you want. Do you know what is wrong?
No, it's not something you'd be able to fix, I'm afraid, Mac. Perhaps leaving this place would fix it.
Yeah, I agree with Tink. We should just push through, guys, and get out of this charnel house.
I mean, Galen's literally on the floor, kind of like hyperventilating.
20,000 yards. 10,000 yard stare, just rocking.
We're lambs to the slaughter, man. There's no god of light.
Okay, then let us go. And Mac is going to push Tink out the door, who is holding on to Tantan.
So it like bundles everybody out the door.
Yeah.
I'll go back for Galen and just try and give him a sort of a pep talk, like, come on, you wuss. And the Lord of Light isn't gonna
talk. He's not going to go on Britain's Got Talent. He's not going to like just stumble out on the stage and do a presentation.
If you don't want to end up like the people in this room, we need to leave this room.
Mm.
And then just sort of give him a sort of a pat on the bum. Let's go.
Is that going to be enough to get me going? I just don't know.
I mean, you're frightened and you're just having this doubt in your
Okay.
faith. You're not sort of catatonic as yet. You sort
Oh,
of had
okay.
your moment of being
Okay.
like, yeah, you're not so
Okay.
terrified. You're just having a
It's not the Alien RPG.
no.
Oh, right, okay.
Oh god, not that again.
No.
Okay. So, as you make your way out into the top sort of level of this mountain city, Montecresco, you're sort of greeted by sort of two structures. The first on your right is a large domed building, the moonlight again shining in and sort of reflecting off this sort of metallic dome at its top. Around the side you sort of see the moonlight glitter off large stained glass windows, many of which are shattered but a few remain. Over on the left-hand side in front of you, there's sort of like a walled compound of sorts. It looks like a barracks of some kind. Neither of these buildings are too far from you, and from here, with the moonlight shining through, you can see that the barracks sort of gate is wide open. And surrounding the sort of magnificent building to your right is sort of this eloquent garden.
Still loads of bodies.
As you sort of look out here, there's a fewer number of bodies. You sort of don't see so much. The snow again is sort of about 2 inches deep, and sort of what you do notice is over to the right you can sort of see these small little statues which are knocked over towards the large building to your right. You sort of see the odd body here and there, but you sort of, if you were caught out in the open and being attacked by something, you know, sort of you get the idea that at least the defenders of this place were trying to bottleneck something.
There have to be a lot of somethings, and you only bottleneck really multiple foes. If it was one
Large
big foe,
groups.
you want a larger fighting area to surround that singular combatant. So yeah, so as we leave the previous charnel house, is there a door we can sort of close behind us?
Yeah, it's sort of hanging off its hinges, but there's sort of like a broken bit of wood to one side.
Okay. So I just sort of boarding it up as much as we can. Not seal it so we can get through if we need to quickly, but just give us a bit of a warning if something comes from that way.
Alright, I'd like you to make a strength test, please.
Oh, Jesus. Oh, typically not bad. 5, 11, 14.
14? Good to know.
With a strength of 0.
Good to know. You sort of like, as you're sort of in this little area, Gillis sort of like starts putting these things up, wedging it in.
Yeah.
What would you like to do, folks?
Tink is basically jumping at shadows here, I think, at this point. Is
Tink, could you not do that because it throws my aim off each time you jump?
very, very, very sorry, Mac. This is unusual territory for me in physical and computational sense.
Just on the sort of sense that obviously the defender's trying to bottleneck something, I just want to do a sort of like my sort of 5 and 20 meter check to see if we haven't in turn been bottlenecked.
Roll a perception check.
Can Tink hear anything at this point?
You can roll a perception check with hearing if you like.
Oh,
-2 to roll.
Yep, I rolled a 5.
5? No, you don't see anything.
Go on then, Mac will have a smell if everyone is checking
Go
everything.
for a smell.
Oh man.
Can
114 plus 3.
Ooh, not bad.
Can Tantan try and convince the group that maybe we should just leave the city?
Right. He can try. 15.
Yes, Tantan, that is
15.
the most sensible thing you have said in the entire time I've known you.
15.
Maybe.
You basically smell the claret room behind you.
All right, well, at least it smells better up ahead, at least.
I will sort of turn to the group and be like,
we were here to try and find that diver, but maybe, seeing as we've been fairly loud here, anything that or anyone that was alive in the city would probably know we're here by now. So maybe we should just leave. It might be the better option, because I don't particularly want to stay here forever like these people.
He's not really wrong. What's our
Tink's like
incentive to
beams
carry
just-
on?
You can just see Tink's like I-beams just zipping around, like looking at anything and everything.
There's nothing moving.
Yeah, he's just frightened. He's like any
There's
patch
nothing
of darkness
you're
he's
picking
trying
up.
to illuminate.
So would there be a place for sort of a final stand? Obviously, this choke point didn't end.
Well,
so
in front of
thinking
you,
Helm's Deep, is there a...
Yeah, so what you can see, there's no keep as such. Over to the left-hand side, there is sort of like a barracks of some kind, and over to the right-hand side, there is this large domed building that is very sort of glamorous in its appearance. What appears over your right-hand, sort of over on the left-hand side, the barracks just looks like a small walled area. The wall isn't sophisticated in any way. It just looks like some sort of billets in some form. The one on the right is gold and shiny.
From where everyone that's died, does it looks like something was trying to get into the city or something was trying to get out of the city?
Roll an intelligence check.
Oh no.
No, dear.
Oh, 8.
8. You don't really know. You get the impression that some people were standing their ground and fighting against something.
So in the charnel room,
Yep.
they died at the first door we went through rather than the
Yep.
second.
They died at the first door, yeah.
So, yeah, that doesn't answer the question. If they're keeping something in or out, though, I suppose. I was going to suggest to the team, Gillis is looking around. Obviously, Galen and Tink are having, a personal moment. If we go back out into the night, guys, we've seen they can kill people on the road. We need to find somewhere defensible here to wait the night out and maybe try and move out during the day when we've got a bit more, about us, because Tink, Galen, obviously this is quite a stressful time for you both. Let's say we try and find
I
somewhere
agree.
defensible.
Maybe, yeah. A nice house with a door that's still intact, maybe.
It's a good shout. So I'm going to look for, defensively, is the posh building or the barracks more suitable for...
Okay. So as you look to the right, the doors of, I think, if you sort of, from where you're at now and the distance of these things, you can just about see them. And the door leading to the barracks is smashed through. The door leading to the shrine is just sat open.
Oh, shrine it is then.
Okay. You said there was stained glass windows in the shrine that have been smashed. How high
They're pretty
off
high.
the ground are they?
They're pretty high.
Okay.
Yeah, they're not sort of like low down. They're pretty high up.
Smashed in or out? Or can we not tell in the gloom?
You can't tell here. They just look broken. You can't
Okay.
see as such.
So I suggest
Sorry,
gents,
you saying something looks like it came, like the doors coming out of the shrine are just open. Doesn't look like they were smashed in.
No.
Just open.
Was the priest all along?
Yeah, always,
Always
is.
is.
Yeah.
You can't trust these religious people.
Yeah.
So Matt, can you take care of Tink and Tantan? Galen, come on. There's a shrine over here. Maybe you can instill some of that good old faith of yours back into yourself and sort of try and shepherd the group towards that building.
All right.
How's
moving
Jeremy
the group.
doing in all this?
He's fine.
He's fine.
He
He's
had a
following you
nibble of
along.
one of the corpses.
Yeah. He seems noticeably unbothered by all of this. It seems like, but
I guess the biggest question is, where's Jeremy?
it's just following along, been trotting along behind Mac the whole time.
Oh no,
Did
I
he
imagine he's
puke?
got like little red feet now.
Oh, no.
Rob, roll a Constitution check, just general. No,
For Jeremy.
8 on the dice.
8. He threw up. Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, no.
I'd also like you to make a willpower check.
Is it a scared sheep?
13 on the dice.
He's not scared. He just threw up.
Jeremy,
Jeremy,
braver than
held up.
Galen and Ting.
bravest member of the party.
Did he have a crisis of sheep faith?
No. Okay, so are you ushering everybody towards the
Lambs to
shrine?
the cosmic slaughter.
So, as you make your way sort of towards the large domed building, you're taken aback by quite how impressive a sight it is. Every so often when the moonlight shines, the stunning white brick seems vastly different from all the other buildings in Montecresco, and you catch a glimpse of the golden top. It must be a statement of some sort of importance of this building. As you approach the main doors, you notice that the small statues that line the road are all of sort of some form of creature in image of nature. While the number of deceased guards here seems much fewer here, something did seem to still happen. The large wooden doors leading up to the building, and they stretch up about the height of 3 people, open up into a large hall, moonlight shining in. As you get to the doors, you see that the doors are covered in scratches. What would you like to do?
The inside of the doors or the outside of the doors? Okay, the outside of the doors. I like this is a running thread where we're like, we have no idea where they came from, so let's try and figure it out.
Trying to get into the shrine, by the sounds of it.
Would I?
Talking out of character here.
Could I use my
Mackie's
natural
going
law
to. Oh, sorry.
to see if I can recognise the creature? If I can identify the creature that's obviously, I don't want to say deified, but represented in these
There are all
sculptures.
sorts of different ones. Wolves, bears, owls, just like lots of different animals.
The animals are Father in Woodchurch.
Mackie's going to push Tink and Tantan into the.
Why? Why always me?
So
Why?
As you're both pushed in, are you going to resist?
Tantan will.
Yeah, I think Tink might at this
Okay.
point if you're pushing him
Strength
towards the
checks,
door.
those strength checks.
Can we add ours together and hopefully we can...
Ooh, 12,
Oh god, that's terrible. 8,
17.
17.
9.
9.
Oh, 17. If this is a might check, then 19.
Yeah, might it would be.
19.
No, it's not Mike, John.
Yeah, you push them both in. You push them both in.
I don't want to go inside.
Inside the building.
Mac, what are you doing?
Gillis said go into the building.
So, inside the building, you're met by a ransacked scene. Wooden chairs and tables are smashed throughout the hallway. Pots and chests overturned. Statues pulled down from their plinths and smashed. You spy that some of the beautiful stained glass windows did survive. And strangely in the moonlight, the images that are left are those that depict shadowy beasts and burning cities, whereas the majority of these windows are smashed through.
One of the windows go, well, that's ironic.
Tinker's like raised his pistol arm now as well, and he's basically just pointing with his rapier and his pistol. Like just he's terrified.
He's water divining.
Yeah.
Does it look like something's been taken from here?
Okay. As you sort of start to look around, Mac, you sort of spy the altar on the far side of the hall. It sort of appears to be the most ransacked and damaged. The fabric that lies across it is torn. As you step closer, you see that there lies 2 armoured bodies, slightly larger than a human, with what you would assume would be beautiful golden plate armour. Instead, they sit slumped, trapped within the hammered remains of their armour. Dents and scratches litter the surface. To their sides lie 2 ornate halberds, which seem to have some sort of firing mechanism in their blade.
Adeptus Custodes.
I wasn't going to say it. I'm a fanboy. God Emperor Cavill.
Head over to that side of the room, I guess.
Okay. And you make your way over to that side of the room. As you get closer, you also see that there is sort of just nestled off to one side a bag slumped against the altar.
I'll have a look in the bag, I guess.
Okay. So, Tantan, you're going to have a look at the bag. Is anybody else going to do anything else?
It's
I
a
want to
mimic.
close the doors behind us.
Okay,
I'm
you
gonna
close
have
the
a-
doors behind. Cool.
Hang on, I've not even gone in.
Galen's like,
I was meant to be taking you in. Sorry, Galen. I was ushering you in. I was shepherding you in personally.
Okay.
I'll have a bit of a look at one of these fancy halberds.
Okay. It's very fancy. It's very cool. It's got a gun, rather like Tink's pistol thing, but it's in its blade and sort of concealed away, sort of just on the side. But it's sort of like ornate and gold and very pretty. You've never seen anything like it before.
Hmm. Can I see if I can figure out how it fires?
You can have a little. Are you going to try and figure out how? Right, roll an intelligence check.
Booming report.
No,
Out.
okay. 5.
5. Okay, you don't figure out. You're like trying to work it out. You're like picking it up. It's like a big stick with a weird gun thing on the end. You don't quite know how it works.
Boom boom stick.
Anyone else going to look at anything?
Gentlemen, perhaps it might be sensible to sweep the building and make sure there's nobody else here.
There's the Tink we all know. Well done, Tink. You get it back to it. Well done. We need you, Tink.
Yeah, is this one big hall or are there?
Yeah, it's like a big church hall.
And the walls.
But unlike having pews and things, it's got like tables and chairs, like a communal. Imagine a cross between like a Viking hall and a church, and you've sort of got what this is.
So they're all wooden, right?
All wooden, yeah.
Is there a sort of a hearth where we could start a fire?
There looks like in the centre there is sort of some sort of hearth and fire.
Bar the door as well with one of those smashed pews.
Yeah, so you can bar the door, and you spend a little bit of time doing that. Tantan, whilst you're doing this, you're ruffling through this bag.
Yes.
You find a piece of paper with a note on it.
Oh.
You can.
Do I? Oh, okay. I was about to ask that.
Please tell me it doesn't just say "look up."
It says.
Click and collect order G 6 o'clock.
It says, "Go to the Aurum coast. Take Tali. I have information that the Jade Dragon have chosen that as their testing ground. We must not let them succeed. If you must, seek out the Mad One. She was once part of our order. I sense she may have returned from the Frozen Isles. Take care. These are dangerous people, and I know not what evils they have succumbed to." You also find a journal and a handful of bullets.
Oh, okay.
On the journal, you open it. It's in some sort of code that you don't understand, but sort of written on the front page, you do manage to read in sort of like the common tongue. In fact, no, it's actually written in Elvish. You see the name Garrick written.
Could I quickly put down the book, or put it in my haversack of holding, and rush over to the two individuals that had the fancy armor on?
Okay.
Is either of them elven?
Okay. I would like you to make an investigation check, please.
Oakley dokily. Here we go. It's not bad. Investigation, that falls under intelligence, yeah?
Perception.
Oh, perception. Okay, that's the same. So that is 12.
12, okay. So as you have a little look through the bodies, that's quite a decent roll. And you sort of start looking past all the wounds, and you sort of like lifting up the head. And as you move the head to look to see if it's elven or not, you see a bullet wound in the skull. And they're human, but sort of all these superficial cuts and dents on this armour seem to be post-mortem. Also, as you're sort of like looking at the armour and things, you sort of turn over the wrist and you see a familiar emblem on the inside of the wrist. You've seen it on somebody's shield before. It's the same emblem that Galen wears. As you're here preparing sort of some defences up on the side, and you're rooting through that bag, you hear a noise. A scratching noise.
Oh, God.
You hear multiple scratching. Almost as if tiny claws are running over a stone floor. you then begin to hear a chuckle. Followed by silence.
Full
Then you
of a
hear
tuck.
more scratches and screeches of excitement. As you do so, you begin to hear on the wooden walls that you're barring up these scratches against the wall. Scratching. And then you turn and hear this shriek just up to your right-hand side. As framed in the moonlight, you see this small creature. Can't be no more than half a metre tall. Just peering through the window at you. And then another. And then a third. And then a fourth. And then they begin to scatter in through the window. And that is where we will end today's episode.
God.
Oh, nice.
We all gonna die.
It's fine. You only have to outrun Tink.
So,
Getting murdered by loads of 5-year-olds.
woo, yes, revenge! It's GM's revenge. So we'll find out where this goes next time round. But I enjoyed that, folks. I hope you
Yeah, it was a good run.
enjoyed
Yeah, it was
that.
good.
That was fun.
So we will find out where this goes next time round. But thank you very much for listening and joining us along this adventure. I can't wait for the next bit. So
I can.
all the characters are going, we can wait.
Treasure my
Yes,
beautiful character
yes.
sheet for a little while longer. Leave me, Tantan.
That's why you go full analog, mate. You just throw it in the bin, no one cares.
Oh.
So folks, thank you very much for that. Well played, and yeah, we will catch you next time round.
Thanks, guys.
See you.
Bye.
Bye.
All right.